Welcome back to Morning Joe. Joining us now for the must-read op-eds, Pulitzer Prize-winning columnist and associate editor of the Washington Post and MSNBC political analyst Eugene Robinson. Gene, good morning. You came on a good day. We're reading your op-ed. How's that sound?
Hey, how about it, Willie?
All right, so you write in the Washington Post that Trump is out of control. Gene writes, the statements President Trump issued on Twitter in recent days lead to a chilling conclusion. The man is out of control. I know that's a radical thing to say about the elected leader of the United States, the most powerful individual in the world. I know his unorthodox use of social media is thought by some, including the president himself, to be brilliant. But I don't see political genius in the invective coming from Trump these days. I see an angry man lashing out at enemies, real and imagined, a man dangerously overwhelmed. We already knew that Trump had a narrow mind and a small heart, writes Gene. Now we must wonder about his emotional stability, his grasp of reality, or both. Gene, that's along the lines of some of the things that have been said around the table, that he's acting, not just acting out, but acting against his own self-interest with many of these tweets.
Yeah, and what else can you say, Willie? I mean, first, one point I think that really has to be made is, these Twitter tweet storms, we call them tweets and that minimizes them. These are statements from the President of the United States. These are statements written by the hand, by the tiny thumbs of the President of the United States. And they're going to have to be taken into account, I believe, by the Supreme Court, for example, when it decides on the travel ban. You could argue that what he said during the campaign was, maybe you can find some way to overlook that. You can't overlook what he says as a sitting president of the United States about his own executive order, and so I think that issue probably is off the table for him, and he keeps damaging himself. Again, what he said about London is just outrageous and offensive to me as an American, as you look at what happened in London and how it's being handled by Mayor Khan over there. It's as if he is not in control, and so that's why the headline: he's out of control.
Not in control, out of control. And Donnie Deutsch, there's a line here that Gene wrote: a man dangerously overwhelmed. I think that's obvious. He is overwhelmed, and he is so overwhelmed, and he now understands that he underestimated how difficult this was. All of them, everybody around Donald Trump, underestimated just how difficult this job was going to be. And now he finds himself in the middle of a storm, having to get lawyers, possibly facing criminal sanctions. And he is dangerously overwhelmed. And I guess what is most concerning is that when in this danger, he's reaching out and getting support from Steve Bannon, the very guy that has caused most of these problems. The very man who has isolated him not only in the White House, but in Washington, D.C. and across the world.
You're talking about King Bannon. Is it King Bannon or President Bannon? Which one? I always get confused.
Well, it literally is it's literally President Bannon, because he's been sold a bill of goods by this huckster saying, hey, this is what you need to do. Well, President Bannon is now sitting at 36% in the polls, 37%. It can't get much worse. I mean, these are historically low poll numbers for somebody at this stage of the presidency.
Joe, here's my question. You touched on this earlier, and clearly in all different shapes and forms, we're saying that this guy is certainly not well, not mentally stable. So there are certain people of gravitas around him. There's McMaster, there's Mattis, there's Gary Cohn, there's Dina Powell. And I wonder if at any point in time, as patriots, some of these people raise their hand and say something is not right here. Is just that I know all these people are solid people with gravitas, with resumes, with families, and obviously are well-intentioned. You just wonder, do any of those people at any point in time, for the good of the country, because they can't raise their hand to the president, but raise their hand to the rest of us, that something is troubling here?
So,
well, Donnie,
go ahead, Jim.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say, you know, we do have an event coming up on Thursday. We have James Comey's testimony. And I actually was wondering yesterday whether, in addition to whatever he says about his conversations with the president about the Russia thing, I also wonder if he will frankly address his impressions of the president. I mean, this is someone who has some gravitas and some experience here, and people like him and people don't like him, but he's a serious guy. And if I were a member of that Senate committee, would certainly ask that line of questioning.
Thanks for checking out MSNBC on YouTube, and make sure you subscribe to stay up to date on the day's biggest stories. And you can click on any of the videos around us to watch more from Morning Joe and MSNBC. Thanks so much for watching.